Hello, everyone. Good
We're
morning.
live?
We're live. We're live.
So exciting.
Hello.
So excited. Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're starting extra early today. We are starting half an hour early. It is 6:30 a.m. where we are, but we are hyped. And that's because we have a very, very special guest. Special guest, do you mind joining us?
Yes, actually, they don't see the name. They don't see the name.
This is your original Angel of Darkness reporting to headquarters at Tomb Raider. Megan, do you read me?
We read you. We read you.
We read you.
Oh my gosh. Chat is freaking out. Chat is freaking out.
Chat
I love
is
it.
freaking out.
So, for those of you who are joining, Jonell is joining us, the voice actress for Lara on Tomb Raider 4, 5, and of course, our beloved Angel of Darkness. Thank you so much for joining us, Jonell. We're so happy to have you.
It is an absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on, girls.
Of course, of course.
I'm in my library at Croft.
Yeah. I love it. I'm super jealous.
We
of
love
course
it.
I've read every single one, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna do a quick interview with you, Jonell, and then we'll jump to gameplay right around 7, so in about a half an hour. So we're very excited about that. All right. So you have obviously worked on Tomb Raider 4, 5, and Angel of Darkness. Do you want to start just by talking about how you got your role in Tomb Raider 4 and got the original Lara Croft role for that?
Yes, of course. Well, it was going way back when to 1996, and I was in this show in the West End with the first Lara Croft, who you all know and love, Shelley Blonde.
Well, you have my total attention now. I'm not quite sure if I've got yours, though. Hello?
And we were sharing a dressing room, and she actually, you know, obviously we both knew we were the voiceover agent, and she was like, I've just got this new job. And I was like, wow, you know, what is it? And she's like, I'm going to play this super cool heroine called Lara Croft, and, you know, she is, you know, she goes to Egypt, and she, you know, she's wandering around tombs, and, you know, she's a really cool character. And I was like, wow, that's really good, Shelley. And, you know, I remember her coming back because we were working every day together. And, you know, we were doing like, you know, a show in the evening, perhaps a show, and, you know, 2 shows a day sometimes. And she'd come back and fill me in and tell me what she was doing. And I was really excited for her. And then, you know, a few years later down the line, say a couple of years, my agent calls me up and says, Jonell, I've got this audition for you. And it was with a producer that I'd worked with previously on a couple of other games, Dr. Moreau's Island, which I'm not sure whether it got released in the end, but he played Dr. Moreau's wife on that. And he was like, look, I think you're really right for this character. She's called Lara Croft. And I was like, sorry, who? Lara Croft? I know all about this woman. Yeah, he was like, I want you to come in. I want you to just have a little read and have some fun with it, and we'll take it from there. So, you know, when I got to the studio, he was like, you know, there's quite a few people going up for this, quite a few famous actresses as well. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to get this gig. You know, there's far too many, you know, good actresses out there that are going to fill her shoes. So I kind of just took it in my stride. You know, I think as voiceover artists, we're used to just sort of stepping in, doing our little bit, and then as soon as you come out, you forget about it.
I don't count poison darts and triggered entombment, your average child's tea party. I feel we should lend this some respect.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I did. And then, you know, about a week later, I got told that I got the gig. And then I was like, oh my God, I better tell Shelley about this. So I phoned her up and I was like, what's it like? Do you mind? Is it okay if I take this job? I know it was yours once. And she was like, you know what, Johnny, you've got to go. You've got to do it. You've got 100% my blessing. And yeah, so that was it, you know, and I was in like a couple of weeks later and recording it. And yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. It really was.
I love it. That's so exciting. So having worked on those 3 games, how was Angel of Darkness different? Was the recording time a lot longer? Like the process wise, how was it different for you?
When I got the script delivered, it was much more filmic. You know, it was much meatier. It was literally like reading a feature film. And it, you know, such a good plot. It was so sinister. And, you know, I mean, not that I'm saying the other, you know, 4 and 5 games were, you know, I mean, that they were brilliant too. And, you know, very edgy. But Angel of Darkness was just a whole different story. And they had, you know, these villains in it that were really scary. And, yeah, the plot, you know, was a real twist. And, it, you know, I love the fact that there was this, you know, whodunit with Lara as well. Really, like, did she kill Von Croy? You know, is she the one who's, you know, the villain in the end? So I had a lot of fun reading that, and I couldn't wait to get stuck in. And when I knew there was some other really good actors on it, like Joss Ackland, of course Eric, who you know and love, Curtis, it, you know, I was just thrilled. And I remember sitting next to Joss Ackland, and he was quite scary. I mean, you know, he was this big man. I mean, I don't know whether you remember him because he was in Lethal Weapon, and he played a baddie in that, and he was pretty scary. But this was like, you know, 20 years later. So he, you know, he had this like long white hair and he had long fingernails. And I was like, you know, he looks sinister.
Yeah.
Next to him. But yeah, he was just such a phenomenal actor and really good to play against.
Only my great hearts can cause the higher race to flourish again.
So I guess it's up to me to stop you then.
So it really felt, you know, like you were on a set, because normally when you go in for voiceover, very often you are just sitting there on your own, and you know you're not together. You know, I mean, there are a few cartoons, like I did Angelina Ballerina, and I did that with Judi Dench and Derek Jacobi, and we were all in the room together. And it's great when it's like that because you can feed off each other. So yeah, working with the actors on Angel of Darkness was like a dream come true. So yeah, it really sort of made you build your character along the way. So yeah, it was fantastic experience.
Love that.
Thanks.
Glad you came back to save me, stranger.
Name's Curtis.
Lara. And this is business.
Like, how did the characterization change for Lara and AOD, and how did that influence you, how you approach the role, and did you have any influence on her character development?
I think I did, because it was kind of quite organic. You know, we just got in the studio, and like I said, we were just, although you read it at home, once you get in that studio with the other actors, it becomes something else, you know, things just start happening organically. But, you know, she was a lot harder edged. It's like, you know, she'd been through so much. And of course, there was that cliffhanger where we didn't know what happened to Lara. So there was that whole mystery, and then she appears, and it's, you know, under very suspicious circumstances. It was, you know, just great to build that suspense with her. And yeah, she was just a lot cooler, I think. I mean, if that's possible, because she's cool anyway, but I think she had this real edgy side, different side to her character, which was very
very different for fans. I think all of us were a little shocked at first by the dark tone and nature, but it was so good. I think that, and that's why she's so iconic to this day.
Yeah.
Neha, we actually already touched on.
Her wardrobe is pretty good in that as well. And I don't know whether you've noticed, guys. Hello. I'm wearing the denim jacket.
Double denim is still amazing.
I see you are. I mean, you're looking very Lara-esque as well.
She does.
Gorgeous. Doesn't she?
She even has like the darker shade of the lipstick.
I tried doing eyeliner, but I'm not very good at dark eyeliner. So it's like glasses on. I'm not as good at makeup like Neha is.
Do you remember any cut content that you recorded from the game?
Well, you know, that's funny because not being a gamer, I don't like to admit this to everyone, but I hadn't sort of known what content was in there because I hadn't really played. I mean, I was just saying to Megan earlier that when I was a kid, it was the Atari. That's how far back, that's how vintage we are.
Atari is great.
Yeah, I didn't really know. It's only because of the fans out there that I do know what is cut content wise. You know, you know, I was like, oh, I was unaware of that. I really like that scene.
Oh,
That's a shame. It didn't make, you know, that ended up on the cutting room floor. But you know, it's obviously still being seen, and the fans love it. So,
yeah,
you know,
that's the great thing is so much of it has come to light. Exactly.
And they've sort of become sort of iconic in themselves. You know, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
we've got a
absolutely.
secret bit here. You know, but, yeah.
So we have this other thing I want to chat about. So you did this amazing sort of stunt where at E3, you actually were in a mocap suit and you answered questions as Lara. And to this day, that technology blows my mind because you could see your eyes move, you could see little twitches and adjustments and everything. The fidelity was incredible. So could you talk to that a little bit?
So what did you think of Angelina Jolie's performance in the Tomb Raider movie?
I thought she was absolutely fantastic, and what a likeness to myself.
Oh man, it was so itchy. Can we just?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought maybe that was in practice. I'll do it once more, yeah? Thank you. Tribe called the Bedouin tribe. Oh, sorry, Strike. Sorry, Strike.
Like, I remember being in that suit practically all day, and I was like, you know, there were some moments when I was like, I so need to go to the ladies. And I really want to itch my nose and my hair. I just want to itch my head. And it was just like, you know, all these little tiny wee balls, like these little sensors that were just, you know, magnifying every little bit of expression. So,
Strike. Oh, what were we going to say?
Yeah, but it was a challenge, but it was a really good experience. And I mean, totally like, thrilling to go out there, but you know, nerve-wracking as well. I was just like, I feel like I'm being thrown to the lions. I mean, literally, I'm like, oh my God, what are they going to ask me? Are they going to ask me, you know, really techie questions? Am I going to get like, you know, tongue-tied? You know, I just really didn't know what was going to get thrown at me. But you know, that excitement as well. You know, I was like sweating. I was like, you know, sweating falls off. But
how long were you in that suit? Like, how long was the day? Because I've seen some like B-roll, but you were doing interview after interview behind the scenes and then also on stage, right?
It was pretty much all day. And I was in this little booth. So, you know, you had the massive screen. I'm sure there's quite a lot of fans out there that might have been there, but older ones, of course. But yeah, they had massive, you know, cinema screen, Lara, and then me in this tiny little box with one of the guys from IDOS just there to hold my hand, just in case I got any, you know, terribly difficult questions, and he could just you know, feed them through to me.
Yeah.
Whisper to me in my ear. And yeah, oh my God. Thinking of it now just makes me shudder.
I used to be made up of 500 polygons, but now I'm 5,000. What do you think of my new look?
Was that a really unique experience? Have you done anything like that since?
That was a really unique experience, yeah. But yeah, I got to do that a couple of times for Lara. So yeah, I think back then as well, it was like a real sort of trend. I think like Robbie Williams and stuff were doing it in their videos as well, and like that whole mocap thing sort of came alive. But I've never been asked to do it since.
I've never seen it done to that quality again at a game show. Was that one of your first big game shows? Did you have a chance to walk around E3 and actually see all the like the games? What was that like?
Yes, of course, yeah, I did, and it was. I mean, it was like something I'd never experienced before in my life, and you know, I was like, wow, this is big, you know, and you know, seeing all the other games, and I was like, maybe I could get into this playing games, Lark. But yeah, and you know, to see the fans and everything, how much it meant to them was really phenomenal. Yeah, and to go to LA, I mean, you know, that was good too. That's always a little perk when, I mean, in voiceovers, you don't really really get to go away anywhere nice. You know, you're stuck in some dingy studio in Soho, in London. You know, not very often you get to go to glamorous places like LA.
Well, it's exciting. We were very excited to see some of that content. It was a really cool stunt. So
I can't believe you've seen it. I've never seen it. Never seen anything.
I'll send you some of the footage I found.
Okay.
I'll send it to you so that you get to see more of it. You did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. It's not a little sweaty.
So, what are you up to now these days? What other VO gigs have you done?
Well, do you know what? I haven't really done a lot of other games. I did do Overlord a few years back. I don't really know that one, you guys. Yeah, I did that with Terry Pratchett's daughter, Leanne. She wrote it, and yeah, I got to play quite a few different characters in that. And I've done lots of cartoons. You know,
Cartoons.
Yeah.
I'm mainly a jobbing voiceover artist that just, you know, goes to the channels. You know, I'll do ITV here, BBC One, BBC Two, you know, all the Sky channels, lots of kids channels, you know, documentaries, you know, History Channel, you know, you name it, I've done it. And, you know, anything and everything. So it's all different. And that's what I love about the job. And you never know what you're going to wake up to, really, because I can wake up the next day and not have any jobs and then suddenly, you know, maybe have 2 or 3. So, yeah, you're used to that kind of, you know, get up and maybe just go, you know. It doesn't really, very rarely do you get it in your diary like 3 weeks before. It's just, you know, you have to sort of live your life, like, in the moment. But, you know,
that's a very Lara thing. That leads me to my next question. So in what ways do you think you're like Lara, and in what ways are you super different than Lara?
What's quite as active these days? But saying that, I do love, you know, exercising and running and boxing, and, you know, all those sort of physical things. And, you know, I am adventurous. I've been to quite a few places around the world. You know, I've been to India, Thailand, and, you know, I've been to, you know, over America, Canada. I was born in Canada. I was born in Toronto. And, you know, obviously all over Europe. And, you know, I love to be active when I'm away as well. I'm not one of those that just like to lie around the pool and, you know, just read magazines and stuff. I do like to get out and hike and, you know, boats, you know, maybe go canoeing, or, you know, I've done, I think I was telling Radarcast not that long ago that I did a zip wire in Mexico over a crocodile infested lake, and he's quite impressed with that.
Yeah. That is impressive.
Yeah, I went down a cenote, you know, I've trekked in the jungle, you know, I've been to South Africa. Yeah, lots of different things. I did go to South Africa for a job, so that was another.
Oh, really?
That's cool.
That's cool.
Not for voiceover, it was for something visual, but yeah, that was nice. So very, very rarely I get to go to some exotic places in the world.
So obviously, you know that we've been celebrating Angel of Darkness all month, and we've had fans going crazy over everything. So this is such a wonderful way to end the month. Can you speak to any fun fan moments you've had? I know you get to interact with people online, and you kind of found out how popular AOD is still.
Too many to mention, honestly. I mean, that chick, I think you've got her on later. She has written me some incredible songs and like sampled my voice, and I've had so much fun listening to those. And yeah, and also I mean, she did another little spoof which had me in fits. She did an Alexa spoof commercial with my voice on it, which was hilarious.
Alexa, what do you do?
I do deal with problems, sort them out. Any situations need clearing up? Difficulties removed?
Awesome.
You know, the fan art as well, it's just incredible. I mean, there's just so many fans out there that I, you know, like to mention. I mean, John Baptiste, he did some really good artwork. He's very, very good. A favourite of mine. And who else have we got artist-wise out there? hang on a minute. I know I've got another. Jack Lyle is very, very good. Well, another little favourite of mine. I love DJ Croft. DJ Croft.
Oh, isn't he great? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He is going to lose his mind. I don't think he's up right now because it is like not even
It's really
7 o'clock
early,
AM.
but I'm sure
But I will make
he'll watch
sure
a
he
lot.
does it.
We'll make sure
Yeah.
he hears it or sees it. Yeah.
I mean, that man is incredible. He's got an incredible body as well, I have to say.
Yeah,
And
he definitely embodies Lara very well.
yeah. Who else do I like out there? I love them all. I love them all.
Yeah.
Kate Sykes as well. She does some really good stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Oh, Kate Sykes, she's in chat. She just went DJ. So she's going to see this. Yeah. Hi, Kate.
Matt,
Yeah, there's quite a few in chat. As soon as you mentioned Norse chick, she said I be cry. So
Oh,
she's there. They're all there. Most of them I'm sure are there.
I love it.
it's Croft Girl. I love. It's Croft Girl. Actually got me on Instagram. So she
Awesome.
messaged me on my private one, and that's when I decided I would, go ahead and do an Instagram for everyone. And it's been so much
I love
fun.
that. That's so great.
Yeah.
I gotta
Paul
find you on Instagram
well,
now.
Paul Harrison, I did an interview with Radarcast. They've all been, so become such good friends. Yeah. So yeah, lots of fan.
It's amazing. I love that you not only that you were able to call out specific fans. We have such a huge community, but I know that they all appreciate that you pay attention to and you see their work, and I know that means a lot to them. So thank you.
I see everything. Yeah.
So I think that the one thing that I've been hearing everybody ask is if you can say I feel stronger now.
No, I thought the coconut one was you could pick one.
I feel stronger now. I feel stronger now.
I actually sometimes say that after working out just to pump myself up.
Right, exactly. Gets you going. I'm a dangerous girl, and right now I'm losing patience.
Yeah, so good, man. She's got so many great lines in that game. It's phenomenal.
So many. I mean, too many to mention. In fact, I wrote a few down because there's a few good ones in here.
The
one, you unsavory little runt. People love that one. Is such a
that one unsavory little runs and the coconut one.
You unsavory little runt.
People asking, please, Jonell, can you call us? Sorry, what were you saying?
I'm not strong enough. I mean, you shouldn't really have said that. What else we got? No, there's one here that made me laugh with Janice. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't worry. We're not in the same class. Ouch.
We all know who she says that to.
Milk on table 2.
So sassy.
Yeah. And the one where she talks about the stunts as well. It's quite funny. But yeah, the coconut line. If I had a coconut for every time some lunatic said something like that one's pretty good. Yeah.
So many coconuts then.
I mean, that's the most bizarre line in the whole thing.
I know.
I wonder who wrote that one.
It's like a Murdy thing. I don't know. That feels like a Murdy one to me, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Move that hand another inch and you'll be wiping counters with stumps.
Oh, yeah. That one's really excellent, too.
Yeah.
I love it so much. So have you stayed in touch with anybody from the team? Do you ever talk to Murdy or any of the voice actors or anything like that? Yes. I know it's kind of, yeah?
Yes, I've talked to Murdy just recently, actually, because we're doing something with Ash.
Oh, yeah. That's exciting. Do you want to talk? I suppose you can't talk too much about it.
I don't know whether I'm allowed to talk about it. But
well, Ash is streaming today, so we'll let him get into it and see how much he can get into it. But it is a very exciting sounding project, and we're really excited that you're involved. So that's awesome.
What was
a lot? I mean, been bosom buddies for 26 years, I think it is now, or 27 years.
Amazing! That's so cool.
It's a long time.
That's a very strong friendship. I love that.
Yeah. We know each other's families. He knows my mum and dad. We know each other's children, and we message each other practically every week. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else. I mean, Eric, no, sadly not. I haven't seen Eric for a long time.
I'm tracking 5 obscura paintings for a client called Eckhart, but he's a psychopath.
Why should I care?
And Kerry Shale, though, who played my boy, is my agent. And in fact, Shelley is as well. So we all share the same agent. So Kerry, I've seen over the years when there's been a yakety yak party.
Oh, okay. So you're all yakety yackers. Is there?
We're
Okay.
yakkers, man.
That's cool.
I love that name. It's such a good.
It's a really good name for voiceover work. I think it's awesome.
It's very, it fits the bill.
So I did ask a few people in chat, what was the biggest challenge for you in order to become Lara?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the biggest challenge was actually doing those action scenes with the water tank. It's what they call the water bank. It's like when the screaming, the dying, the ducking yourself off a cliff or a building. Those kinds of things I found challenging, but I mean, in a good way. But you'd sort of die about 20 different times. Your dying scene different every time. They just be feeding it to you, like you're being sucked into a whirlpool. Water, just like drink it and blow bubbles on it and scream at the same time.
That feels like it's gonna be really messy. But works.
But,
definitely works.
Yeah. I've done some weird things though. I've been like, aside from Lara Croft, I've been like a strangled cat in a cartoon. That was challenging.
That's very specific. Yeah.
Or I've been a baby, or I've been a 7-year-old boy, or so yeah.
That's a testament to your range, being a baby, a cat, and a 7-year-old boy. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Well, you just have to go, look, I want this gig. I'm going to make it work.
So, I think
we're about to,
we're about ready. I'll ask one more question. I think I know Tyrannita is already live, and we don't want to delay too long, but someone did ask, is it true that you were going to voice Lara in the Tomb Raider Anniversary Edition back in 2006 before it was canceled?
Oh, controversial. No, I never heard that.
Really?
So that's news to my ears. No,
okay.
I never heard it.
All right, so that's a rumor. There you go, guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far it got, if it got to that.
Conspiracy squashed. All right.
Chinese whisper.
Someone wants you to. Someone asked if you could say "Free Britney" so we can have the official support of Lara Croft.
Free Britney.
Free Britney.
Yeah, free Britney.
Absolutely.
Feel for her. She should be free. She's a grown woman.
Yes.
No, she's not a baby.
One queen supporting another queen.
I was going to say, we have some requests from to say hello to fans in Brazil. Is it Bom Dia? Bom Dia, fans in Brazil. We love you. Obrigada.
Hi there, Brazil. I'm not sure whether... I might have got this wrong, but I've got a lovely fan out there as well called Edgar Borelli. I don't know whether he's from Brazil. I might have got that wrong. But hey, Edgar, and hey, Brazil.
Yeah.
Jonell, you are awesome. Like, even just when I was like preparing for the stream and scrambling all over the place, like I was already in Zoom and Jonell joined with like the biggest smile ever, and I had like a moment of like, oh my god, I love her. and I look crazy because I'm like all over the place, but you are so awesome and you're so sweet. And I'm so glad I got to meet you and talk to you. So thank you.
Bless you, darling. I love you. Both of you. Let's do this more often.
We are wrapping up.
It was wonderful talking to you.
It was so good talking to all of you as well. And can I just say, I want to say a massive, I just want to send a huge love to all the fans out there and everybody that follows me on the original Angel of Darkness. I love you guys so much, and you give me so many laughs. Keep them coming, okay?
Aww.
So much love to you all.
Wonderful.
Thanks for having me on, girls. Take
All
care.
right. Thank you, Jonell.
All right, so hi everybody. Today we're going to be chatting with Eric Loren, the voice of Curtis Trent in Angel of Darkness. Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's nice to chat to you.
Likewise. We're going to jump right in. So like I said before, I kind of broke up the questions for you. Want to chat about your career a bit, want to get into the narrative of Angel of Darkness, and then we have a couple community questions to ask as well.
Okay, no problem.
So going back all the way to the beginning, this was one of your earliest projects, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I kind of had 2 agents at the time, and I just moved to a voice agent. So it was kind of I think it was one of my first game voices that I did with this new agency. It was specific for voice as opposed to my acting agent.
And you've had a really long voice acting career now. I mean, was that the intention way back then, or was Angel of Darkness and your role there kind of revelatory for you, and you're like, yeah, I really enjoy this?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I mean, it's still, even now, it's been so many years, it was an amazing experience. In some ways, back then, it was almost more like doing radio plays than it was. It was like you were really involved and you had more, not that you had less say or more say, but it's less cut up. You don't have 4,000 lines to shout out by yourself in a studio somewhere. And there was a lot of interaction. And as soon as we sat down, it was kind of, Jonell and Murty especially, it was just very exciting. It was like we're doing something it just started to spark,
Was that the beginning of yours and Murty's relationship?
It was. We just hit it off, and we just kind of, I love the character so much. It was a real pleasure for me to do it. And I think somehow it was one of those things where I guess my voice was kind of the voice that he had imagined or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
And so anyways, but that worked really well. But everyone was trying to just make it really exciting. So it felt like you were on the cutting edge of something. And I think from that and the way we kind of interacted, that's when our kind of friendship started. We just talk about it and discuss new ideas and possibilities and how could I make this more interesting. And I think that's kind of the way it went, really.
You really have made a mess of things, haven't you?
Who for? The stalker who stole my painting? What do you need with the painting?
Maybe I'll explain later, Ms. Croft.
Do you remember your audition process at all and what that was like?
Not really. I have a feeling it was one of those really boring things where you just went in and did a few lines and they said, yeah or no, from what I remember. But It was recorded in the studio, I think, where there's an old recording studio where the Stones had recorded, the Beatles had recorded. It was downstairs. So there's already platinum and silver albums everywhere. And you kind of felt like, wow, this is a really nice vibe down here, This is a happening place.
I imagine Curtis's lines for your audition were probably something moody or angsty, right?
Yeah. And, it was funny too, because back then you kind of, I mean, I'm older now, but, there was a couple of video games where you had to they'd film you. Yeah. And you knew, especially more back then than now, you had to be like that guy. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of came in with my leather jacket on. And so it's kind of, they had to believe that, yeah, you could not only, even though you really want you to sound like this guy, your vibe had to be right.
So you didn't know what the vibe of the character was going into the audition. You just showed up like the leather jacket was your brand back then, and they typecasted you.
A little bit, I was in bands as well, so I kind of it was, but I think you did know they would give you. I think they'd give you like a breakdown, and they kind of maybe a picture a little bit, and you get a sense of what it was. It's really, to be honest with you, I don't really remember it exactly because it was so long ago, but I can remember the sessions like they were yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
What were they like? What was a normal voice session for Angel of Darkness like for you?
Well, we'd be in the studio, we'd be sitting across from each other. It was almost like I said, it was almost like because now quite often you might do one side. Sometimes you get lucky and you get to do both sides, but we'd actually talk it out, rehearse the scene, do the scene, and then continue working it. And you really felt like you're shooting a film just with your voice,
All this can wait. I know where you'll be. Take a breather from damaging things, why don't you?
So, were you in a room with Jonell?
Yeah.
Or okay, because I know a lot of projects, the actors work in silos almost, and they don't.
That's right.
They can't really feed off of each other, but you did for Angel of Darkness.
Yeah, I think we sat across from the table from each other.
What was
And
it
I think
like working with her?
Oh, she was great. You know, I mean, I think she'd already done one before that, and she was, you know, she was on it. So, and we both were just like, this is really great stuff. Murty's, you know, the storylines were so dark and interesting, and just they were cool. You know what I mean? And so it kind of, you know, you knew you had to be cool, but you knew you kind of could kind of get into the whole feel of the thing. And so there was a lot because we could see each other. I know there's that one scene I always remember where I drop in and she's sitting there and I'm behind her and she turns around, but we were looking at each other. So this kind of, you know, kind of playfulness that was happening between the two of us live, which I think comes out in the voice work when you see it in the game, you know, kind
Totally.
of cat and mouse kind of thing going on.
Was there any mocap that you had to do for that project?
No, not then, not yet, no.
No.
It was all pre-mocap then.
Well, and I kind of asked you this earlier, but you know, Curtis was kind of like the important but like side character in Angel of Darkness. Did you ever imagine that 20 years later you would still be getting asked questions or pinged by fans online about him?
No, not really. No, I was surprised. I mean, I knew, you know what? This is the thing. I at one point I said to you I was a musician and I made this album, and started getting a lot of people following my album with the Curtis Trent Estrogen Brigade. And I thought, what is this? And it turned out that there were fans, female fans of Curtis Trent. And so, and they turned out to be, not only were they really interesting fans, but they were actually very talented fans. And one of them was called Savannah Cortez. And she became a fan of my music as well. And she kind of helped me organize my website.
Oh
and
my
when
gosh.
I went, and the film I shot, which was out in LA, she came and met me at the premiere of it. And then, and my friends went and hung out with her for a while. You know, it was quite a cool thing. And I thought, wow, I've got some cool fans here, you know?
Yeah, the Tomb Raider fans you described them really well. Talented and interesting.
Yeah. And even now, I mean, I went back and Murty had this where they were recording the music again. And I met a lot of people there. And it seemed like Murty's stories and the graphics kind of triggered a response from people who are artists themselves in one way or another, or something. There was something that they wanted to, I don't know, something in their life, something that they said, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to look something like that. He also triggered, you know, the storylines have all the Nephilim stuff and this whole connection to what we would call conspiracy theory now potentially, but it was pre-conspiracy theory, more religious conspiracy theory. And I think it triggered something in people that were looking for some other answers, looking between the lines instead of just trying to read the lines, you know?
Certainly. Well, let's get into Murty's story a little bit. I think there were supposed to be 2 more games that were planned after Angel of Darkness. That game notoriously had some challenges with development. Those games didn't end up happening. But when you were going through the development for AOD, what had you heard about what those next games were going to be and maybe where your character and the narrative would have gone?
Yeah, I mean, they told me a little bit. I mean, only because I knew Murty, and there was a kind of after we'd finished recording, there was a whisper of potentially a spin-off game for Curtis and maybe further storylines. And of course, that's exactly what you want to hear, right?
Right.
And so, you know, as per usual, being in the business long enough, you kind of go, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So in a way, it was disappointing. I remember also there were a few features in Angel of Darkness that they meant to put in, and somehow with the funding, which happens quite often, they weren't able to. I think they weren't able to make the way you played Curtis work with some features as much as they'd wanted. And I think that was part of the beginning problem of it not moving forward.
Any features in particular that you
Not
recall?
that I mean, you'd have to ask Murty, but I remember something coming up when I first, because I bought the game, and you know, and people had said, oh, there was a few, what they had planned for him to be able to do, he wasn't able to do, and I think she could do it, but I don't think Curtis could do them all. So I think it changed what way in which fans could kind of interact with him and play him.
Yeah. Well, so I guess what we ended up getting was a kind of ambiguous ending with Curtis. We don't really know. He's gone. There's the illusion he might have died, but I think it's pretty clear he survived. Where do you think Curtis is now? Where did he go next? In your mind?
I really don't know. You know, I was looking through some of the. It's very interesting. I mean, you know, there was also rumors of us being more connected, boyfriend, girlfriend, and potentially, you know, that rumor was coming up a lot. And I think
that's my next question. Is there chemistry with Lara and Curtis?
There was definitely chemistry. I think there was definitely chemistry. I think that a lot of the tension between the two of them was, you know, probably an initial attraction to each other as well. And, you know, this, I think it was the first time they were trying to build it in, the first time that she potentially had her head turned, if you like.
Yeah. And so, I guess, did you hear anything in development from Murdy? Was that through line supposed to be explored more in future?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was definitely things that they had talked about. And, you know, it's frustrating me too, because it was such a cool character to play. And it was such a fun thing to do. You want to keep doing it, you know, just because it's, you know, it's also, I mean, when you're doing voice work, if you have someone who's cool, it's a lot more fun to play sometimes than somebody who's not. I mean, you know, real characters. I mean, sometimes it's just great to play something so far away from yourself.
Sure.
But sometimes it's nice to kind of embody, you know, someone you think, oh, I can get away with that in voiceover.
Have you played any other characters past Curtis where he comes to mind and you're like, oh, that reminds me of when I was his voice?
You know, there was one, I don't even know if the game came out. It was kind of a Clint Eastwoody type of role, you know what I mean? But it had the same kind of swag that Curtis had.
Sure.
And it kind of, I don't even know. I kept trying to find out where it went to, because we'd done so much work on it. But, you know, sometimes with these games, they spend so much money in production and it just doesn't get out. But it definitely taught me a lot about kind of how to be present as a character, how to just, even if it's just the voice, how to not just say it, but to actually try and embody the whole feeling of the kind of visuals as well.
Sure, yeah. Do you have any fun stories from development or working with Jonell that you wanted to that you recall or stand out to you?
You know, it's in a way it's been too long, I'm afraid. Really? Yeah, I mean, just when you look at the pictures, I mean, I don't know if you've seen Murdy has a new website out called murtyscofield.com that I think the fans built for him, which is great. And seeing the pictures through there, I went, oh yeah, it brought back a lot of memories of us hanging out in the studio and doing all that. You know, but like I said, I can remember the recording. I can remember sitting there and the enjoyment of it. And I can remember sitting in the control booth, just chatting about it for hours, just even post, you know, when the sessions were over, just continually talking about things about it, the world, you know. I mean, Murty's written this book, Shadow Histories, and it's kind of, although it's not exactly that world, it kind of embodies the whole kind of feel, if you like, of the game.
Yeah.
And so we started talking about everything surrounding Murty's work and the kind of things he was thinking about and what life was going on. But yeah, no, I just remember that although I do know we were supposed to do, I think, an interview session one time in character, like in California. And it was one of those things where they would fly you out to LA or something early on.
Yeah.
And for some reason it fell apart, probably because my agent was, at the time, like, wasn't getting paid enough. I was like, no, I don't care. I just want to get out there and do it. It was such a cool thing to have done. And it was on the cards. It wasn't like just an offer. But, you know, it was a real disappointment because I thought it's very rare that you get something that just locks in. You know, everything locks in place and it's cool and fun to do. People like it. That's a really win-win situation for an actor, I think. You know? So it was a shame not to keep going with that one. But no, sorry, I can't remember any specific stories.
No, that's great. That's all great. I have a couple questions from the community here. Hetty from our Discord wants to know, what are some common points you share with Curtis besides a leather jacket?
Yeah. Well, I used to have more similar beard, but and hair.
You had a soul patch. You had the little soul patch.
Yeah, a little bit like that. But it made you go, maybe I could get away with that.
The Tomb Raider fans will probably Photoshop you now to see what you look like with the soul patch.
Give me some hair.
Yeah, they'll give you the emo cut that Curtis had.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the recording, I went back, to kind of see everybody, and there were people dressed up as Curtis. So it was very interesting to see it in person.
I bet.
And there's a guy who does my voice. He read a fan book out loud, and he was pretty amazing that he did me as Curtis. And I
really?
thought, yes, it's interesting. There's a couple lines that are perfect.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, at the time, especially, I was in a band and I was kind of living like that, and I kind of was aware of how cool he was, and it kind of not that I lived that life, but I kind of thought, yeah, this guy's got something going on here, stylistically, a little bit. I mean, to be fair, I think I came at things. I think definitely I was like that much more. I mean, I wasn't as cool as him, but I definitely think I approached my people like that.
Sure.
In a certain way,
Orange Jr. 36 asks if you have kept up with the franchise since Angel of Darkness.
A little bit. When it became a film, I mean, it all changed a little bit. It kind of, for me, it lost some of the depth. It kind of just became about her being an action figure, and it kind of became more about my friendship with Murty and where is he thinking going in the future, as opposed to what would happen in the past.
Yeah.
And it was just also, it's one of those things when you think, oh, they've changed the franchise and it's not going to happen anymore. You kind of go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't need that franchise.
There's also been so many games to keep up with too. I mean, since then there's been half a dozen or more, 2 reboots. So it is a lot to keep up with, mind you.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Orange Jr. 36 also asks how much you knew about Curtis's backstory during the development of the game. So Murty, a lot of Curtis's story came out after the game shipped, from all sorts of ancillary documents and what have you. Did you have a clear picture of his background?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it all, and I think that with all game companies, they only give you so much backstory. I mean, they do give you a lot of backstory, and like I said, it was something that before we even set off, Murty and I would discuss it at length, which was rare, to have Murty there, and his involvement to change things and to have the freedom to kind of play around with it, and always checking in and making sure that it connects to exactly what he was wanting to do. Are we working on the right path? So yeah, we definitely talked about the history, and I think it was very important in terms of there's a lot of terminology, there's a lot of connections that are made all the time, putting things together, Eckhart and all this stuff, and what's that story? You needed to know it to be able to kind of cut it correctly and bring it to life. So yeah, we had a lot.
Yeah, because Curtis had a really personal connection to the enemies. I think like his dad was
through his father. That's right.
Exactly. So I imagine it was important to know those things going into the role.
Definitely, and also I mean, there's that very just to get your mouth around the Lux Veritatis, and say it with conviction. You got to know what it means. You know what I mean? And what you're talking about.
Tell me about the shards.
They're ancient weapons of the Lux Veritatis. 2 of them were entrusted to my father. Eckhart murdered him to stop them passing into my hands. He failed.
And then to kind of play it in a kind of, a kind of cheeky but aggressive manner, and
sure. Well, one last question for you. We're celebrating the 25th anniversary of Tomb Raider this year. Every month we're kind of featuring another game, and we have all sorts of fun community initiatives we're doing every month. It's been really cool. We celebrated Angel of Darkness last month, but we had hundreds of pieces of fan art. There's a lot of Curtis, Lara, romantic, some steamy art that was submitted as well. Do you have anything you want to say to the community all these years later?
No, I mean, like I said to you, I've honestly just been so blown away by how creative they are. I mean, it's unbelievable. I've looked through all this stuff. I've even read fan novels and seen the stuff through, mostly Murty pushes them my way, but they're just so creative and artistic. And you kind of think, something, I actually set up this film company to take Murty's book Shadow Histories and try and make it a live action film, action series. And interesting enough, one of the things that interests me is also maybe trying to discuss it with the community, because they're very talented people out there. So I'm just very impressed, I have to say. And it's I'd like to see this stuff. If you send me a link, I'll have a look.
Well, thank you so much, Eric. It's so cool getting to chat with you. I think it has to be just so awesome all these years later to have fans who still love that character so much.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I appreciate it.
Totally. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, man. Take care.
Yeah, you too.